Good afternoon, Your Excellency, our special guests, dignitaries, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aisha Fazal, and I'm a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. I'm also a member of ICAP Bahrain Chapter. It's my absolute pleasure to host you today to our event, Islamic Banking and Digital Revolution. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you. I would request the audience at the back to please join us in the front. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. Your Excellency, respected guests, ladies and gentlemen, history of Islamic banking in its present form dates back to approximately 4 decades when it started initially as a niche market for a specific clientele. The same now is an integral component of the global financial system. Owing to the strengths of being based on real economic activity, and being devoid of excessive leveraging while encouraging investment disclosure and higher standards of corporate governance, Islamic finance is increasingly winning confidence across the globe. The Kingdom of Bahrain is recognized as a global leader in Islamic finance, ranking second in the MENA region and fourth globally for Islamic finance development. The ability to cater mainstream Islamic finance and the new breed of fintech Sharia-compliant products, along with continued focus on innovation and customer service, has made Bahrain a top destination for Islamic finance development. Pakistan witnessed an emergence of Islamic banking in response to both religious and constitutional needs. The history of Islamic banking in Pakistan matches with that of the global emergence of Islamic banking. The process, which began in the 1960s, has made tremendous advances to date. Today's event, Islamic Banking and Digital Revolution, features an extraordinary pool of expertise and talent, both from Bahrain and Pakistan. We would now formally start our event with a recitation of the Holy Quran. May I request Mr. Muhammad Abu Bakr to bless our event with a recitation of verses from the Holy Quran. Thank you very much.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين صدق الله.
Thank you very much for the beautiful recitation. I would now like to invite Mr. Mohammed Saeed Butt, Chairman of ICAP Bahrain Chapter, and Mr. Arshad Gadir, Vice Chairman of the Bahrain Chapter.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. From Bahrain chapter of ICAP members, I welcome you all to the seminar on Islamic banking and digital revolution. I'm very grateful to our chief guest, His Excellency Muhammad Ayub, the Ambassador of Pakistan, Mr. Ashfaq Tola, the President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, Ms. Hina Usmani, Chairperson, Overseas Coordination Committee of ICAP, our senior members in Bahrain, especially Mr. Nurur Rahman Abid, and Umar Mustafa Ansari sir for their cooperation for this event. I would also like to thank our event partners, AAOIFI, BIBF, and TAIF Digital Institute for Islamic Finance. Our title sponsors, Mizan Bank from Pakistan. Our platinum sponsors, Khalidi Commercial Bank from Bahrain. And our gold sponsors, ATH Guideline Bahrain, Aramis Technologies Bahrain, Prismatic Technologies from Pakistan, and Premium e-Business Solution from Bahrain. I would also like to thank the audience online and in person, members of the Bahrain chapter of ICAP, our ICAP office in Pakistan that has supported us tremendously for this event to raise from beginning till now. We have received an overwhelming response for this seminar, and our total event registration crossed 900 attendees online and in person. And the registrations were globally from 65 countries to attend this event. So it was quite an overwhelming and quite encouraging response from the attendees. Now, the seminar is designed to increase awareness on new technological trends and advancement in financial world and how the Islamic banking sector can leverage this digital revolution to sustain and reinforce its position in a competitive market where customer demands for innovative financial services are ever increasing and customers continuously expect more efficient and improved banking experience. And from our distinguished guests and speakers, you will get a more comprehensive understanding of digital revolution and the opportunity it offers for a faster growth of Islamic banking. And we should start so that they can give us, share their knowledge with us. Thank you so much for that. And I will ask Mr. Arshad to share his thoughts.
Thank you very much. I will not take more time. You've got gurus of Islamic finance here sharing their wisdom. So you have loads to learn today. So pick out your bags and learn the gems, take the gems out of them as much as possible. That's all I will add. And thank you very much. And we'll start the proceedings now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saeed and Mr. Arshad. We now move on to our most esteemed guest, His Excellency Mr. Mohammed Ayub, Ambassador of Pakistan to the Kingdom of Bahrain. Mr. Mohammed Ayub was appointed as Ambassador of Pakistan to the Kingdom of Bahrain in April 2021. During his illustrious career in foreign service of Pakistan, he has held important diplomatic assignments on various missions abroad. Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to His Excellency Mr. Mohammed Ayub as he shares his valuable insights with us.
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to all present here and to those joining us online. Let me at the outset express my deepest gratitude and appreciation to the CA Society Bahrain, Bahrain chapter, ICAP members, and all other organizations like Auditing and Accounting Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions and Bahrain Institute of Banking and Finance for putting this event together. Thank you very much. The Pakistan diaspora in Bahrain and around the world has played a pivotal role, especially in Islamic banking, as is evident today in this auditorium with your presence and a good number joining us online from Pakistan and from around the world. While, you know, the banking sector has been registering healthy growth over the years, Islamic banking is also making a good foothold in Pakistan. In 2021, the Islamic banking industry in Pakistan grew by more than 30%, which shows a definite increase in consumer demand. The State Bank of Pakistan is taking important steps for the development of Islamic banking and finance industry in line with the decisions of the Islamic Sharia Court. It's a fact, historically, Pakistan has had low levels of financial inclusion, with a small number of others having access to banking services. The people in Pakistan, however, are now showing greater interest in Islamic banking and want to learn more about it. Islamic banks and banking institutions, training institutions have a bigger role to play in addressing this issue and helping in the development of Islamic banking systems in Pakistan. I firmly believe that platforms like this help share the knowledge base and increase awareness about the progress and challenges in Islamic banking and finance. In my experience abroad, I have seen that Pakistani diaspora has always played a pivotal role in economic development of Pakistan, and mostly through their much needed remittances and inflows. And the successful initiative of Roshan digital accounts is another clear evidence to this effect. Ladies and gentlemen, Bahrain has achieved remarkable economic development under the sagacious leadership of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and dynamic Crown Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa. The all-round economic development achieved by Bahrain is premised on strong banking and financial institutions and systems. Bahrain is also a global Islamic finance pioneer. Bahrain is a home to around 120,000 Pakistanis. By sheer dint of professionalism, merit, and hard work, they have become high achievers in many high-value sectors, contributing to the economic development and prosperity of the Kingdom of Bahrain. Especially our chartered accountants and bankers, the likes of Mr. Noor Abissa, who made remarkable contribution in the finance and banking industry of Bahrain and the MENA region. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan and Bahrain enjoy strong bilateral relations based on solidarity, mutual support, and common religion. As ambassador of Pakistan, it is my earnest desire to transform this strong political and strategic partnership into a mutually beneficial economic partnership to enhance trade and investment, a win-win for both countries. Pakistan National Institute of Banking and Finance and BIBF have established a collaborative relationship. The State Bank of Pakistan is also benefiting immensely from the standards and guidelines set by AAOIFI for Islamic financial institutions and industry. We would like to see these institutions working more closely on developing joint Islamic banking projects. I assure you of my continued support and cooperation in achieving this goal. Thank you all once again for organizing this event and for inviting me to share a few thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for sharing your insights with us. It's now time to welcome a very special guest who has joined us all the way from Karachi, Pakistan. Mr. Ashfaq Yusuf Tola is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan and Institute of Cost and Management Accountants of Pakistan. He is the president of ICAP and also serves as chairman executive committee of ICAP. He's an accomplished professional who has experience of over 30 years in diversified areas, including tax planning and advisory, assurance and business advisory services, international mergers and acquisitions, corporate finance and investment advisory, financial product designing and launching, and corporate affairs. Mr. Tola is also a life member of SARC Chamber of Commerce and Industry and serves on the board and as member of numerous prestigious professional bodies. Mr. Tola has a keen interest in matters pertaining to the economy of Pakistan. He has knowledge of more than 40 jurisdictions around the globe, and he has co-authored a report on Sindh provincial taxation system. Please give a warm welcome and a warm applause for Mr. Ashfaq Tola.
His Excellency Mohammad Ayub Saab, Noor Saab, Umar Ansari Saab, Hina Usmani, all my brilliant chairman and vice chairman of Bahrain chapter, Saeed Bhatt Saab and Arshad Khalid, Aisha, my fraternity, professionals from various disciplines in Bahrain. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Aisha, let me just first correct you. I am not a special guest from Pakistan. I am a host from Pakistan.
Thank you.
So when you have tagged ICAP and CA Pakistan as a host, I am a host. So you are also a host and I am also a host. So let's correct this. As His Excellency has said, and he has introduced Pakistan and relationship with Bahrain, let me come forward and say, His Excellency, me and my team, we are available round the clock to bond the relationship between the two nations, especially on the economic front. What we are doing, yes, I know you are ambassador and you are a career ambassador and foreign service officer, but I have my hundreds of ambassadors with you to support you. And actually, my job and my team's job is to support you. This event, again, it's a very special event, and Hina can tell you that we have to adjust our council meeting because of this event, and we have to bring it forward for 4 days. But nonetheless, this important event I can't miss. Coming back to Islamic banking is really need of the hour. I can recall in 1991, when the Federal Shariat Court declared markup system as un-Islamic. It was a hue and cry in Pakistan. And then I know for sure Supreme Court of Pakistan stated that landmark judgment after a span of 30 years, after a lapse of 30 years, has been passed again. That review has been passed by the Supreme Court of Federal Shariat Court. And again, most of the banks have approached Supreme Court to stop it. Yes, I know there is a huge gap between the present system of banking in Pakistan and that of Islamic banking. We have in all spheres of activity, especially on the manufacturing side, and especially the government loaning, they are very much attached and embedded the traditional or conventional banking system into it. But we have to just keep them aside. And as a Muslim, this is my faith, and I know this is faith of all of us, that real solution lies in Islamic banking. And knowing this fact, I wrote to His Excellency Prime Minister of Pakistan that let's make a team and let's make a roadmap. And I've got a very good response from Honorable Finance Minister of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif Saab. And soon, I think we will form a committee which comprises of all the stakeholders, including economists, parliamentarian, maybe officials from the State Bank of Pakistan, officials from, and we have offered our services as the coordinator, the organizer, or wherever we can play a role. We have also written to Chairman of Islamic Ideology Council, Qibla Yasab, and I think he is also very forthcoming. I hope that very soon all the professionals in Pakistan will hear good news about transformation of banking system into true Islamic banking system. Well, I have great love for that because in 96, if I recall correctly, I was the one who started developing a product on Islamic financing, and that was redeemable capital certificate. That was very challenging. At that time, believe you me, my knowledge was religion was not that good. Even I am still a student, but at that time I was a primary student or maybe a kindergarten student. Then we had a marathon presentation with the religious board, and they approved it. They said, yes, this is in accordance with the injunction of Islam. Yet I was not satisfied, and I requested them to send it for an independent review. Dr. Ahmad Badawi has reviewed it and he certified it. Yet it couldn't take off. But I believe, I believe that is need of the hour. As far as Islamic banking is concerned, it has a tremendous geometric progression history in Pakistan. Even if I compare the total deposit in just 1 year, from 18.3% to overall deposit base, it comes to now, I think, 19.4. So in just 1 year, we have a transformation of 1.1%, which is astronomical, phenomenal. And so is true with the asset based of the Islamic banking industry. Many banks are now trying to come up, and I'm happy to say that Faisal Bank is the first bank that has transformed from a true conventional bank to a true Islamic bank. And this is a model. I think most of the banks, they will replicate it, and inshallah, very soon, in all the part of the world, we will be having Islamic banking. I know for sure a few years back when, since I am a student of economics as well, I know that world used to generate $450 billion every year. And out of that, $400 billion used to come from Islamic world. And every bank, Citi, Deutsche Bank, every bank, they opened their chapter and Islamic banking window, especially in Bahrain and other countries. So this is the significance, and hopefully we will come strongly. We have a strong faith, and believe you me, I wish whatever we can play, we will play. We have a very dedicated team, and we will not let you down. With this hope, again, I'm extremely grateful to my very agile Bahrain team for arranging the show, and I hope they will arrange some other programs with Umar Ansari and with the support of Pakistan Club and His Excellency. With these words, thank you very much, Pakistan.
Thank you, Mr. Tola, for your wonderful insights. Your Excellency, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker has also kindly joined us all the way from Karachi. Ms. Hina Usmani is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, possessing over 30 years of combined industry and professional practice. She has served over 12 years at senior management level positions in leasing and banking sectors, and then proceeded to start her own practice. She is the founder and managing partner of Usmani & Co. and partner of Ilyas & Co., an MGI affiliated firm. Ms. Hina has the honor of being elected as the first woman council member in 2017 and first woman vice president of ICAP in 2019. She was re-elected in the council in 2021. Ms. Hina represents ICAP internationally as a technical advisor at IFAC SMP Advisory Group and at SAFA Women Leadership Committee, while chairing Overseas Coordination Committee and CA Women Committees of ICAP. Please give her a warm welcome. Let's welcome Ms. Hina.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all our esteemed colleagues, fellow professionals, both who are present here personally and who have joined us online. First of all, congratulations to the entire management committee of the Bahrain chapter for their tireless efforts in organizing this event. And I'm thrilled to be here in Bahrain, a country that is a global leader in Islamic banking and finance. This event is a step towards the increasing need to keep up the changing trends in global Islamic banking and finance through the lens of digitalization. With the world moving to a new era, the Islamic banking world keeps up with the times. Technology has begun to dominate financial markets, creating ease for its stakeholders as well, and creating a wide range of opportunities for growth and innovation in practices in the banking and finance sector. The rise in fintechs, blockchain, AI technologies, and automation is bringing revolution in the Islamic finance industry, and Bahrain is amongst the pioneers in not just adopting to the change, but also bringing in innovation in practices, processes, and products. It is encouraging to see the growth strength of qualified chartered accountants in Bahrain who are serving and playing at leadership positions in some of the top organizations in the region. Today, the pool of qualified chartered accountants serving as experts in Bahrain now stands at around 100. Since inception, the Bahrain chapter has been active in conducting CPD events, job placements, in addition to having a PR committee to enhance the support for members in Bahrain. This has not only strengthened the community, but also has marked its presence in Bahrain as the standard bearers of professionalism. To those who are not aware of the overseas presence of our members, I would like to inform them that ICAP, the overseas presence of ICAP is in more than 10 countries now in the shape of chapters or coordination committees. And our members are playing effective role, and Bahrain is one of the most active chapter and very prominent chapter playing its role in the region. At ICAP, we take pride in diverse range of our members and expertise they share with the rest of the community. We are also planning to hold a virtual global conference in order to connect all our overseas members and to learn from their mutual experiences and knowledge. I encourage all those joining us in this event to take full advantage, like I will, of this event and gather learnings about the evolving Islamic banking sector from key experts, best practitioners and innovators gathered here today. Not only here, but members joining from abroad, from around the world, there is much to learn from. The trends, industry insights, applicable processes and available products will eventually impact Islamic banking around the world. At the end, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude on behalf of the Institute to the event partners, event sponsors, the Bahrain Embassy, and Pakistan Club Bahrain for AAOIFI, for supporting AAOIFI and for supporting the Bahrain chapter activities and close coordination with our members. I'm really grateful for the participation of our senior members here and looking forward for their continued support to our chapter and members in future. I hope our members, our representatives, and our esteemed partners continue working together for a digitally connected future. Thank you so very much. And take care.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hina. Our next distinguished guest is Mr. Noorur Rahman Abid. Mr. Abid is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales, the ICAW, and serves as a board member of the Kuwait Finance House, in addition to chairing several prominent committees. He's a former managing partner for auditing and assurance business services Middle East with Ernst & Young in Bahrain. Mr. Abid has also served as chairman of various committees at the Mizan Bank. In addition, Mr. Abid is a board member and chairman of audit committee at Our Capita in the Kingdom of Bahrain. He's a board member of Sulaiman Faqih Hospital in Jeddah, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and he serves on various important committees. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Abid.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Assalatu wassalamu ala Rasulil Kareem. Your Excellency, Ambassador of Pakistan, Janaab Ashfaqullah Sahab, Ms. Hina, Umar from AAOIFI, Chairman and Vice Chairman of ICAP chapter, Bahrain chapter. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let me just say that being in this conference is a huge pleasure for me. I retired 10 years ago. So when I am invited to conferences like this, and I see the young people around me, it makes me feel young. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. I've been invited to talk about digital banking, and you saw people with typed notes, and here I am, showing my age, handwritten notes. But never mind, Islamic banking, I will just cover very briefly, because I think most of you recognize, sitting in this global center of Islamic banking Bahrain, that Islamic banking is here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. Several efforts have been made in the last 30, 40 years to discredit, to do wrong things, and lots has happened. But take it from me, Islamic banking is here to stay. And it is the only banking that is connected with real economy, that is connected with growth, that is connected with development, avoid speculation, and no pie in the sky transactions. So real transactions, real economy. So Islamic banking is here to stay. Give you two examples. In Pakistan, Mizan Islamic Bank was set up as an investment bank 20 years ago, I think. And from being the smallest Islamic investment bank, has become the biggest Islamic bank, retail Islamic bank in Pakistan, amongst the top 5, with I think highest market capitalization. In a country like Pakistan, that's a huge achievement. In 2 days' time, on Monday, 25th, shareholders of KFH are meeting to pass a resolution to create the largest Islamic bank in the world. And this largest Islamic bank will be legacy of the Middle East. First time a global bank with power is being set up out of the Middle East. It's long overdue, but I'm glad it's happening. Before COVID came, online banking was already really taking hold, was getting stronger and stronger, so much so that numerous branches in US, in North America entirely, in Europe, were being closed. So the COVID brought in the lockdowns, branches were closed, banks were closed. So online banking really took off. And during this period, those banks that had good apps that worked online grew significantly. And I mentioned Mizan Bank. I think one of the biggest reasons for their growth was they have perhaps over several years voted the best online app. And that has meant that their network of customers increased exponentially. And they are where they are today. Then came, of course, the COVID. And COVID brought everything to stand still, and the world went through a new experience. Post-COVID, let me share some statistics with you for the country you are in, Bahrain, a very small country. But just listen to what they have to show. Central Bank of Bahrain issued these statistics last week, and I found them interesting, so I'm sharing them with you. In 1 month, June, last month, 14 million cashless transactions took place. Small island, small country. That's 74% higher than June 21. And June 21, the online transactions were at peak. And these are cashless transactions I'm talking about. They have an electronic fund transfer system here for you and for you plus. I'm sure most of you have heard of this. The value of for you and for you plus all online transactions in June, 1 month, exceeds 2.3 billion BD. So just imagine how the revolution that you're talking about here, digital banking, is taking place. Digital banking, of course, is this in infancy. If you talk about other countries, I mentioned Pakistan, I mentioned Bahrain, the online transactions have more than doubled every year for the last 3 years. So if there was 30%, became 60%, rose up, went to 90%, and now it is becoming really difficult for the banks with the big branches because the footfall in the branches is falling. So clearly, the future, I think, is very clearly visible to everybody that we are indeed heading for digital banking across the world. So currently, digital banking is in full swing. It will move faster than anyone can imagine. Several banks have taken advantage and set up digital banks. What does digital bank mean, you may ask? It's basically where you can do everything online, from account opening to operating the accounts to doing whatever. Now, digital banks, by definition, are not like traditional banks, big head offices, large number of branches. They can operate out of one site and cover the globe. So the advantage is unbelievable, particularly for Islamic banks who are young, lesser number of branches, can now have a global reach. No matter where you are, if the central bank allows you to open an account in that territory, you can open an account sitting in your country and you can operate that account globally. Because their cost structures are lower, digital banks, they will be able to offer products that cannot be matched by traditional banks. I'll give you an example. I was in UK 2 years ago on a visit, and I came across a digital bank that had just been set up. So I opened an account and got a credit card for them. And I'm using it, and it's shocking that the rates they use and the service charges are almost non-existent. The rates they use are the market rates. Service charges are zero. If you compare that with the traditional bank credit debit cards, the service charges and conversion rates alone really dent your pocket significantly. So the advantage with these is huge. And I think Islamic banks have the biggest opportunity. They are new in this territory. Mobiles are available freely throughout the world now. Internet is very widely available, even in African countries, even Pakistan, India, wherever you go. More than 1 billion people can open new accounts through this digital banking. So the opportunity, in my humble opinion, is absolutely massive. And of course, if they do go digital banking route, they don't have the additional costs of branch closures, which traditional banks have had to suffer and continue to suffer. So this will make a big difference. Do they have a choice? In my humble opinion, no. You either open a digital bank or you're doomed, like Nokia and Kodak. You change. This technological revolution is real. And the generation, your generation particularly, is not interested in walking into bank and queue like we used to queue to undertake 1, 2 transactions. So digital banking is not a choice. It is really absolutely essential that Islamic banks go this route. And of course, this is available wherever internet is available and 24/7. So in my humble opinion, this is massive opportunity for growth. Biggest challenge for opening a digital bank is to which application you choose. That will make a big difference. If you choose an application which is user-friendly and provides customer satisfaction, that will be best. It'll help you grow much faster than anything else. So in conclusion, Islamic banks must set up digital banks, join the race, and really benefit from this growth opportunity that has arisen and have the first mover advantage if you want to stay relevant. Islamic banks, in my opinion, can benefit far more than traditional banks. Ashfaqullah Sahab and I want to make a personal plea to both of you since you're here and in the presence of chartered accountants. When I was at Ernst & Young, we employed the largest number of chartered accountants of any single organization globally. But they were never enough. We were always running out to recruit people, recruit qualified chartered accountants. We went the route of finalist students. And believe me, we hired thousands of them, not hundreds, thousands. And we were hiring from our neighboring countries too qualified accountants. Our experience over 25 years that these finalists perform better than a lot of the qualified accountants we have. Now, there's desperate shortage of accountants in the Middle East, in Europe, in America. So my plea to both of you is leave a legacy.
Your wish is our command, you've already done it.
Look, I would like you to look at the way you pass people
You've
in
done
the
it.
finalists. Thank you.
You've already done it, and it is with the government for the passage of time.
Alhamdulillah. One other request. This is to do with Islamic banking. You mentioned that you are writing to the Prime Minister and you will be working on Islamic banking. There's a product with national savings certificates called Bahbood Savings Certificate that has about 1 trillion rupees in this. About 1 million households in Pakistan hold this product. This is not Sharia compliant. It's the easiest product to convert into Sharia. And U96 helped create the first product. Now help convert this into Islamic. It will be a huge benefit for the 1 million families who can earn halal income instead of haram. Absolutely. I would like to finally thank the management of Bahrain chapter of Chartered Accountants for giving this opportunity. Thank you for listening to me, and I'm really, really happy and appreciate the opportunity to be with you. Thank you. God bless you, and Pakistan Zindabad.
Thank you, Mr. Abid, for sharing your thoughts and practical insights with us. When it comes to matters relating to accounting, auditing, governance, ethics, and Sharia standards for Islamic financial institutions, only one organization comes to our mind: the Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions, or the AOFI. Our next guest is Secretary General of AOFI, Mr. Umar Mustafa Ansari. Mr. Ansari is a fellow chartered accountant and has served as partner at Ernst & Young, Ford Roads, Siddharth, Hyder, Pakistan. Mr. Ansari's key area of expertise includes assurance and advisory to Islamic financial institutes. Mr. Ansari is a member and ex-chairman of ICAP committee responsible for the development of Islamic standards, and he serves on numerous prestigious committees. Mr. Ansari will shed light on the 32 years of AOFI and its role in the growth of Islamic finance. Please give a huge round of applause to Mr. Ansari.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Your Excellency, Ambassador of Pakistan, respectable Noor Abid Sahab, Chairman Pakistan Club, Brother Ashfaqullah, my president, and Sister Hina Osmani. Our president. It's my institute and it's my future as well. My eldest son is also doing chartered accountancy, so it's my future as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's indeed the greatest pleasure for me to be here at, representing AOFI and doing something for my own institute and my own chapter of Bahrain ICAP. And I'm so much pleased to be here in front of you and with this opportunity of working together. I think there are a lot of things that need to be said. Some of them I'll be able to say, but some of things maybe we need to collaborate further with ICAP and the Bahrain chapter in time to come. Today, I'm not going to talk about digital banking. The first thing that I need to talk about, and I believe Mr. Noor Abid was even better than me to talk about this because he's one of the founders and the most important contributors to AOFI, but this is my given responsibility. So I'll talk about AOFI, and a little bit I'll talk about how AOFI and ICAP and Pakistan have to collaborate. Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institution. This is something that was a dream in 1987 until 1991. And what the objective was, it was to set up standards for Islamic finance. Now, when we talk about standardization, what is the need for standardization and how it benefits the economies and how it benefits the industry? This is something that is itself needs some time to discuss upon. But the most important part is that standardization actually provides the maximum benefits to the stakeholders at large. I don't think that today is the right time for discussing it, and I was because the time is limited. So I'll just touch upon some of the most important benefits of standardization that are achieved by the industries and stakeholders at large. Some of the most important aspects that I would like to touch upon are that the standardization actually improves efficiency. It reduces cost. It reduces duplications of effort. It provides you better human resources. It provides you human resources across the globe, which are able to work in different parts of the world in the same manner. And this is something that actually helps the countries to attract investment in the long run, because when you work according to the appropriate sets of standards and the global stakeholders have a confidence level at you that you are working according to the right standards and you are working according to the right approach and you have the right resources available and you are not going to waste waste time and effort on reinventing the wheel every time. So these are the things that actually provide you benefits for the stakeholders, for the industry, but I would say even for the countries. You will see that there are countries that are actually focusing significantly on the standardization because they want to attract foreign investments and they want to provide more stable and sustainable business and work opportunities within their countries, not only for their own people, but for outside. And for countries like Pakistan, as I will like to touch upon this thing, actually that provides a greater opportunity for having human resources that can work globally. So this is something that I like to touch upon later as well. AOIFI in a nutshell, we were formed in 1991. I'll quickly share a very quick time series with you as well. We actually have 3 boards in a nutshell, and we develop standards in 5 areas, and we collaborate with other more important standard setting bodies on the Islamic side as well as where possible on the conventional side as well to come up with the best possible standards for Islamic finance industry. Standard setting doesn't end when you actually write a standard or issue it to the market. Rather, it's very important. And I remember, you all know Dr. Aishat Hussain. He was recently, in last term, he was chairman of our governance board. And he used to say something which I quote quite often, that standard setting is not something that you can do in a boardroom. This is something that has to be attached with the overall industry, how it is working. At all stages, you need to take the necessary input. You need to take the interaction. You need to be interactive with the market during the development phase as well as preparation phase as well as post-implementation phase. So this is something very important that we try to do. And from that perspective, we work additionally on the journal awareness part. We work on the market development part for the newer markets. We work on the capacity development part, human capacity development part in particular. So these are the areas which we believe are integrated with the standard setting function. So we try to work in an integrated manner on these areas. Similarly, I would like to talk about the sets of standards that we develop. And we believe that those sets of standards in 5 areas that we are working together, this is very important to understand the philosophy for that. The Sharia is the core for Islamic finance. The Islamic finance emanates from the need for Sharia compliant financing. So the Sharia standards and the Sharia principles and rules which apply on the products and services are primarily I would say, the centerpiece of our standards, that is our Sharia standards. But that is not sufficient. You can have the best rules available in the market, but if you don't have a good implementation mechanism for that, how that can work? And here comes our governance standards, which provide a good governance mechanism and controls which are necessary to get these standards implemented. Then the third part comes with the accounting part, because whatever is done needs to be recorded and reported in a manner which is consistent with the same principles of Sharia. You need to identify the right risk profiles. You need to identify the right balances and the profits and losses that are attributable to different stakeholders. And you need to provide appropriate disclosures, not only to the direct stakeholders, but also to the indirect stakeholders and industry at large, stakeholders at large who have a confidence in you as a Sharia compliant institution. And that for that purpose, the accounting standards become necessary. And then you need to have proper audit and Sharia audit standards in order to make sure that these are reflected, whatever is reflected in the financial statements and how the operations and services are done and how these governance standards and Sharia standards are implemented. This process is audited in an appropriate way. So this is the fourth part of it. And I would say the last part, but not the least, is very important that Sharia compliance is the form, legal form. But ethics and values and doing the things in the right way is actually the soul of it. So we develop standards on the ethics part, codes of ethics and other areas as well. So Sharia, accounting, audit, governance, and ethics, these are the areas where we develop standards. We don't develop standards in the areas related to solvency, capital adequacy, and other regulatory matters for which we collaborate with Islamic Financial Standards Board, which is the other important Islamic finance standard setting body. And it might be a good news for all of you that in recent past, we are working together with them as well. And recently we issued exposure draft of our first joint standard with them. So this is very important to understand that this all is a bouquet, and this is very important even from ICAP's perspective, because I'll touch upon this thing later on, that sometimes some of the regulators are more interested in Sharia standards. Like in Pakistan, the Sharia standards of AAOIFI are adopted by SBP and also by SCCP. They are in the process of adopting more standards, but partially they have already adopted. But at the accounting and governance side, ICAP needs to play its role, accounting, auditing, and governance side, which I'll touch upon this thing later as well. But this we need to understand that this is a very important data. AAOIFI is a small organization in terms of secretariat, but the functions are quite big. We have 3 technical boards: Sharia board, accounting board, governance board. Now, recently we have formed a public interest monitoring consultative committee as well, which is in line with the global best practices of standard setting. We have our own the board of trustees, and under the board of trustees, we have our own governance system, having multiple committees, etc. 1991 was the time when there was an MOU. But before that, I would like to touch upon that in 1987, the process started when Islamic Development Bank's training wing, IRTI, Islamic Research and Training Institute, actually developed a study which identified the need for it. And then it's all history that in 1991, there was a MOU signed to form AAOIFI. And then since 1992, it started functioning. We are so much thankful to the Kingdom of Bahrain and Central Bank of Bahrain being our host and leading the way by adopting our standards and providing the opportunity not only to AAOIFI but also to other Islamic finance infrastructure bodies, the way they have worked on this. And we are so much thankful to them, and we are thankful to even other institutions that are working in Bahrain, particularly BIBF. A lot of areas we are collaborating with them as well. The history goes back to that time, but if you see, it is an evolution process. We started with the accounting standards and accounting statements, then we came up with the auditing and governance standards, and later we decided to establish a separate Sharia board. Sharia board was always there, the Sharia committee was always there, but that was actually assisting the accounting and auditing standard setting. But later we started developing in 2002, we started developing our own Sharia standards as well, which are now, I would say, even if I say these are the Bible of Islamic finance, and I would like to refer a quotation by one of our accounting standard board chairman. He says that even in the countries where you don't feel AAOIFI is, you don't see AAOIFI standards are legally adopted, you will still smell AAOIFI, which means that the countries where it is not even legally adopted, you will find that the AAOIFI Sharia standards, accounting standards, governance standards, these are referred to even on a voluntary basis. And there are a lot of countries, even non-Muslim countries, where institutions have voluntarily adopted our standards as well. This is a quick look at our founding members. We have 6 founding members and the large member base. The total members are nearly 250, I would say, but not all of them are active. Some of them are not active anymore, or some of them were merged with each other. But we have a very large base of members coming from 35 plus countries. These are just selected names of our regulatory members, our institutional members, and these are the institutions with which, only the selected institutions with which we have our MOUs and working collaborations. A very quick summary of this very important information, that is AOIFI's footprint as to how and to what extent AOIFI standards are adopted in different parts of the world. You will see that there are 19 countries that are regulatory jurisdictions in 16 countries that adopt our Sharia standards fully, and we are so much proud to announce that Alhamdulillah last year Bahrain decided to make them part of law. So in Kingdom of Bahrain, our Sharia standards are now part of law, not only are adopted as a regulation, but as part of law. And we are looking forward towards more countries to go in the same direction. If you see, there are 24 regulators in 18 countries that adopt our accounting standards fully. That is the full adoption. And 18 regulators in 15 countries adopt our governance standards fully. Then there are different levels, like, some countries adopt them partially, some countries adopt them as a guideline. So in terms of total, nearly 45 regulators in 36 countries adopt our at least one set of standards, either fully or partially or as guidelines. So this is the biggest achievement. This is the inventory as a standard setting body that what we have. Pakistan is as of now appearing in partial and as guidelines. We would love to see it as a full adoption. And I would like to refer one very important thing here, as you mentioned, sir, that about the Federal Sharia Court judgment. I would like to say that AOIFI contributed greatly towards that judgment, because the judgment refers to AOIFI standards as a means of possibility of implementation Islamic finance in full. They say that now, with the availability of these standards and with partial adoption of these standards already in Pakistan, it provides a much better opportunity to convert it fully. And we are so thankful to honorable court on that. But we believe that as AOIFI, I am a Pakistani and I belong to ICAP, but even otherwise, we are available for all over the world. But for Pakistan in particular, we would say that we are available. We'll try to make all efforts for that. These are our standards available in multiple languages, including our Sharia standards are available in Urdu language as well. We are thankful to Pakistan's Banks Association, as well as Islamic Banks Committee, as well as the Central Bank for that. We have our own certified certification programs and fellowship programs. We have around 2,390 fellows who have passed our programs, either CSA or Certified Islamic Professional Accountant program from 38 countries. And again, there is a large number from Pakistan, but there is again one of the things that we and ICAP need to collaborate more on development of Islamic finance accountants and Islamic finance auditors and Sharia auditors. Quickly on the awareness and advocacy, we are doing a lot of things. We are having conferences, we perform public hearings as a part of a standard setting process, as well as awareness program as well. We conduct a lot of roundtables and workshops. A lot of things actually happen on a physical basis in Bahrain or in other parts of the world. And now most of the activities we are doing online as well, with an opportunity to work together. We have developed multiple reports. We are publishing our journal now for last several years, Journal of Islamic Finance Accountancy, JOIFA, and issuing newsletters from time to time. Now I'll take just a few more minutes, and particularly on this very important aspect, the vision of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah at the time of inauguration of State Bank of Pakistan, which was his last public speech. And here it is just a quotation, but I would like to touch upon one very important point. And he says that we must work out our destiny in our own way and present to the world an economic system based on the true Islamic concept of equality of manhood and social justice. This is something that we are forgetting this thing as a vision of the founding father of the country, and we need to re-emphasize on this thing, and the Federal Sharia Court judgment is a very important step in that direction. Again, the judgment is in line with the Constitution, Article 38F, where it says that the state shall abolish riba. And when I read the judgment, I felt I'm proud to be a Pakistani after seeing that judgment and this thing. And this is something that is, you don't find everywhere. And I'm so proud on this. And I hope that we are able to work together on these areas. There are some quick facts. Mr. Tola and others have already identified Pakistan Islamic banking with the support of central bank and government. As of now, is nearly 20% already. The Takaful is at 12% already. Mutual fund, I don't have the picture, but actually mutual funds are more than 30% now, roughly. And pension funds are more than 60% already Islamic. So the data, alhamdulillah, is already quite positive without a formal plan for conversion. Inshallah, we hope that when this formal plan for conversion comes, and we are so much positive about it, seeing the task force being formed by the federal government, we hope that the things will be moving in the right direction. The data for Pakistan is particularly very positive, alhamdulillah. If we can see, there are some strengths and opportunities I would like to skip, but just one thing I would like to mention. And this I mention every time we have a common event with SBP or ICAP. I say that Pakistan is taking too much from AOIFI. AOIFI is taking too much from Pakistan, and Pakistan is not taking enough. Means Pakistan is not still adopting all of the standards. But if you see, I just want to say that alhamdulillah, Pakistan's human resource in the banking sector, in the financial sector, but particularly in the Islamic finance sector is probably the best. You will find the best human resources sitting in all the important organizations related to Islamic finance around the globe. Our boards, if you see, even our board of trustees have two chartered accountants and one more member of the member representing Pakistan. Our Sharia board has our chairman, His Eminence Sheikh Taqi Usmani, who is from Pakistan. The AOIFI accounting board has 3 members who are chartered accountants, one from ICAP, but 2 were nominated by the big 4 firms from within the region, not from Pakistan. So it was not that we went to Pakistan and we picked so many people. No, they were nominated by Ernst & Young, by Deloitte, by Central Bank of Oman, Central Bank of Bahrain. These are the organizations that appointed Pakistani chartered accountants and other Pakistani experts, because alhamdulillah, we are providing globally some of the best human resources. And once again, I would like to emphasize that this is an area on which ICAP needs to build upon to develop more and more top quality human resources for Islamic finance, and for which we can have more collaboration programs. Our Public Interest Monitoring Committee has 2 representatives. Our governance board has 5 actually Pakistani or Pakistani origin people. And again, only one of them is taken as a representative of Pakistan. All others are representative of other organizations, alhamdulillah. On the way forward, very quickly, we suggest signing an MOU between AOIFI and ICAP for working together towards development of Islamic finance industry and adoption of standards. We need to work on development of standards. Alhamdulillah, ICAP is already helping us in a lot of areas related to development of standards, and we can work more on that. On the adoption side, we need to work together towards human capital development. A lot of work can be done. Our programs can be offered jointly by AOIFI and ICAP for development of top quality resources. There are more areas. We are already working on some of the public hearings and other events together with ICAP and SPP Pakistan, and we hope that these are the areas where we can build upon further. With that, we are open to support whatever support is needed by ICAP and by the regulatory authorities in Pakistan for development of Islamic finance industry. I would like to thank you all for giving me this opportunity and listening to me patiently. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ansari, for giving us detailed insights on the role of AOIFI. I would now like to move towards recognition and awards for our esteemed special guests and speakers. May I request His Excellency, Mr. Muhammad Ayub, to please join us as we call our guests over here for awards. We will wait for the... do we have pictures over here? We can start our process.
He himself was doing the teaching.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Ashfaq Tola. So we will do the awards first and then we will do a group photo.
No problem.
Yeah, we will do that. First, we are doing the awards and then we'll have a group photo.
So yeah, there's a token of love from ICAP. You put it on. Yeah, sir. This is from myself. Sir की गाड़ी.
Please put your hands together for Ms. Hina Asmani as she receives a token of appreciation from His Excellency. Jeanette. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for Mr. Nurul Rahman Abid as he receives a token of appreciation from His Excellency. Please put your hands together for Mr. Omar Mustafa Ansari as he receives a token of appreciation from His Excellency. May I now request Chairman ICAP Bahrain Chapter, Mr. Saeed Butt, to give a token of appreciation to His Excellency. Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Mohammed Ayub, for helping us out in handing out the recognitions and awards. May I now request Mr. Ashfaq Tola to please join us as we recognize and appreciate our esteemed guests and sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mr. Ashfaq Tola. The first recognition goes to Engineer Rahman Ahmed Saha for representing Pakistan Club. Please give a warm welcome. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Syed Imran Ali Shah representing Mizan Bank. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Amanullah Khan representing the Khaliji Commercial Bank of Bahrain. Please welcome Mr. Arshad Gadid representing ATH Gadlang as its global CEO. Family affair.
Welcome, please, ma'am.
Please welcome Mr. Mohammed Safdar, representing Prismatic as co-founder of Prismatic. Please welcome Mr. Faisal Salim, representing Aramis as its CEO.
He's also doing a portal for us.
Please welcome Mr. Sadakat Rasool, representing Premium E-Business as its managing director. Thank you very much, Mr. Tola, for handing out these awards. Thank you very much. May I now request Ms. Hina Sani to join me in presenting awards in recognition of hard work of the panelists and the event management team. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our panelists, who you will see in a short while. Mr. Ashar Nazim from Aeon Digital. Please welcome Mr. Mustafa Khalid from the BIBF. Please welcome Mr. Aman Khan, this time as a panelist from the Khaliji Commercial Bank. And please welcome our fourth panelist, Mr. Rizwan Malik, representing the AOC. We will now call upon the management team representatives from ICAP Bahrain Chapter. Please show your appreciation for the chairman Bahrain Chapter, ICAP, Mr. Saeed Butt. Please show your appreciation for Mr. Ehsan, who is helping us and supporting us digitally. He is the manager for digital media, training and development of Islamic finance, TAIF. We thank him for his tremendous support, and I don't think he's with us right now, but I want everyone to please give a huge round of applause for all his efforts behind the scenes.
Now we need to announce our Master of Ceremony, Ms. Aisha Fazal. She has done a very tremendous job, and she has supported the event organization from day one. So, can we?
Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hina, for joining us to appreciate the efforts of our team. May I now request our sponsors, speakers, Your Excellency, special guests, to please join us over here for a group picture as a memorial of this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to to a very informative and interactive panel discussion, which will shed light on how fintech and digital revolution can fast track the growth in Islamic banking. The panel discussion will be moderated by Mr. Mujtaba Khalid. He's the head of Islamic Finance, Bahrain Institute of Banking and Finance. Our esteemed panelists are Mr. Aman Khan. He's the head of Finance and Administration at the Khaliji Commercial Bank in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Our second panelist is Mr. Ashar Nazim, who is the CEO of Aeon Digital. Our third panelist is Dr. Rizwan Malik. He's the head of Standards Implementation and Strategic Developments at the AAOIFI. Please give a warm welcome to our panelists.
Use this in the automation. So thank you, Aisha. You're doing a great job. We have a watch here as well, so people should know what the time is. Thank you, everyone. It's an honor, Your Excellencies, to host you here. We've had some great speeches, and I think I agree with a lot of the Islamic finance industry over the past 2 decades has seen a tremendous growth. We also agree that Islamic finance is a big opportunity, especially obviously Bahrain has great opportunities of it, but especially in developing countries as well. So this is a great opportunity. Now it's poised to grow at double-digit growth going forward. It has tapered down a bit, but here we are at an evolution in Islamic banking. What is the global value proposition for Islamic banking? How do we move from the traditional customers and tell to the world, look, we have something to offer? Now that's a lot to unpack, but I think fintech is one of those things, which will go and then, we'll take it from there. So I'll start with Ashraf, who's someone I look up to, an illustrious career, partner in EY, set up Aeon Digital, works with great, let's say, banks and financial institutions from the region in some great, tremendous stuff. And I'm sure you'll mention that as well. Please do for us as well. In your experience, Ashraf, for both sides, right? Before working with financial institutions and now working with them. How have financial institutions, particularly in the retail side, leveraged fintech? And how can we use that to facilitate the growth of the Islamic
So, I think Muhammad Salah and others have alluded to the fact that Islamic bank is all about connectivity to the economy, it's about impact, it's about growth. They are younger institutions, so clearly a challenge for them is how to build scale. And now with financial technology, to be more specific, exponential financial technologies, it is possible, to build scale to significantly bring down the cost of acquiring customers, cost of serving customers, in terms of embedding yourself in the financial lifestyle of customers. So what fintech business or digital banking business is doing to banking is it is disrupting the business model, the traditional business model. What does that mean? So one is it is embedding finance into the favorite apps that me and you use on a daily basis. So whether it is Netflix, whether it is Starbucks, I don't need to leave Starbucks to make a payment. I can create a wallet account from Starbucks and make my coffee payment there every day. So one, it is about embedding finance in the financial lifestyle of customers. So we're moving to wealth creation. Number two, at the basic fundamental level, what we are seeing is it is about redefining risk understanding of the banking system. And what does that mean? Let's take some practical examples there. When we open an account, we go through an EKYC, correct? Now, how is EKYC done traditionally? One of lot of forms, etc., gets filed. In the world of tomorrow, the EKYC will be informed not just by your static data alone, but rather with multiple sources of data, जो कि flowing कर रहे होंगे from your multiple bank accounts, all the transactions that you've been conducting day in and day out, in real time will be getting captured by the banks, and it will be informing your KYC and therefore updating. So what the EKYC updation for high risk customers are once in 2 years, for normal is once, high risk is once in a year, others are once in 2 years. It will be done in real time from multiple sources of data, right? And therefore the risk understanding will completely change. For example, that's one. Another example, financing, right? How financing is changing. So today, my financing, my credit scoring is done based on the salary certificate, right? Or a few data points. That is going to comprehensively change. For example, what we are seeing in UK Experian is a data-enabled credit scoring engine. Or financing now will be informed, my credit score will now be informed not just by my salary certificate, but also by all the bank accounts that I carry. Not just all the bank accounts, but also my spending habits, my telephone bill data, right? And that will be informing fintechs and banks that what my credit history is and therefore what my credit profile. I would say implication they बहुत सारे लोग जो कि informal economy में या gig economy में now and they are not able to get financing, they are now eligible because banks are able to understand this better. Similarly, payments, when you think about payments, remittance, international remittance, how much do you think the all-in cost is of a remittance transaction? Roughly around 8 to 10%. As a result of financial, all hidden costs, fees, charges, everything was correct. And today, as a result of new technologies that have simplified operations and admin, and the likes of WISE and others who are out there who are disrupting the remittance play, it has come down to between 3 and 4%. And that is disruption, right? And similarly, well-being. What does that mean for me and you? What well-being means is now, as a result of capturing the data, banks are able to understand better my spending habit, and tomorrow, ambassadors are holidays to Karen. So the bank can actually predict every पिछले 3 साल से आप इस period में जाते हैं, and therefore, you know what? We are connected with Booking.com as well, and we actually deal चल रही है. So if you want to book ahead of time, you can get better deals on these hotels, this status, etc., without you leaving your banking app. Right? So it's those kind of very practical value-added service that banks are bringing, and therefore from being a necessary evil, right? Banks will, and therefore Islamic banks will also transform into providing something which is seen as offering value-added services. I'll stop there.
No, that's very interesting. Few points you mentioned specifically are very relevant to the gig economy element, because that's huge. That's picking up the Pakistan, so the credit scoring methodology and remittances. Of course, as we all know, the situation these days, but I'm very much dependent on remittances. That's something very interesting. So thank you for that. It's honest, because the people already were here. Although my question was Salman, but I skipped that. And so there's one. Regulations obviously can facilitate growth of anything, anything that is not there. But we've seen this historically as well. Regulation standards can also be counterfeit. You can have the best intentions, right? But if not done properly, it can also be counterproductive, right? What is IOFI and how is IOFI dealing with the fintech and Islamic banking space? Because there are a lot of fintechs and I should like to know this as well, that in the UK, there are a lot of Islamic finance fintechs now based in Indonesia as well. But a country like UK, which is not majority Muslim, has a lot of Islamic fintechs coming up. But what is IOFI's role? How is IOFI playing a part facilitating that? Hopefully not to do the opposite, but facilitate this.
It's a pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. All that has happened. We did right in this panel discussion. I think we learned the most basic part is the will to make a difference. I think that's very important for us to make an intention and then actually move forward in terms of what Shabay just mentioned. All this is very fascinating to hear, right? I mean, we're talking about sitting there, I can very quickly make a transaction without even moving an inch, and that can very easily happen. And Robert has maybe mentioned the amount of transactions that have happened in Bahrain itself, let alone in the fintech space globally. All that would not have been possible from the ease of our profile, the culture from our home, if the necessary regulations were not in place. So I'll cover the regulatory part as first. So from a regulator's perspective, they have two roles in place, and those two roles are very difficult to balance. One is to ensure that there is innovation, which promotes the life of the fintech growth and development. However, the more important role, the primary objective is to ensure that there is stability in the market, right? I mean that, and so then to balance these two is a very challenging task. So in that, I think regulators around the world have gone through a paradigm shift in their thinking, in their mindset. They've allowed, they have always been prudent and conservative to a mindset that promotes and supports and facilitates innovation and growth. And all that Shabbat mentioned wouldn't have been possible without that. So regulators have done a tremendous job in terms of facilitating the infrastructure, enable these fintech developments, be it in the form of fintech regulation, the open banking rules and regulations, or be the strategies from the government itself in the form of setting up fintech houses in the form of fintech bay. So this is a dedicated institution that has been set up to promote the development of fintech. It wouldn't have been possible if the right mindset, right regulations had not been in place. Now, when we come to standard setting bodies like economic innovating organizations or Islamic financial institutions, their role is to ensure that this role continues in a manner that is good for the economy in general. It facilitates that growth. At the same time, it needs to ensure that the governance principles, the accounting treatment, the Sharia principles from Islamic perspective are in place for them to conduct these business in the right manner. So that's a very important perspective from a standard setting perspective. So coming to your question, from AAOIFI's perspective today, and prior to that, I'll also take this point here that standard setters also have to be a bit patient in terms of developing their standards. They need to ensure that the market that they're developing a standard on has developed and grown, and it's widely acceptable market and mindset. So that perspective is very important. It's a national today in terms of developing a standard. So from AAOIFI's perspective, AAOIFI has a very comprehensive strategy on fintech, on Islamic fintech in particular. We've set up a very comprehensive working group that looks after the fintech growth. And in terms of standards itself, we've got a number of standards that we're developing in the Islamic fintech space, starting with Islamic crowdfunding, which has, of course, globally acceptable and seen a lot of developments from that perspective. So the standard on Islamic crowdfunding will be available, inshallah, by the end of the year. In addition to that, we've got standards in progress on digital banking, we have listed yet. I don't know if what has happened in the market. So we've got blockchain and smart contracts, we've got standards in place. So we are actively monitoring this space, but we have to be patient in developing the standard, making sure that the market has matured enough and it is widely acceptable in terms of the area that we develop standards.
That's very interesting, and I think that's Is this public news? It has started. All friends as well. Okay, so moving on to Mansama. Look, I mean, so Bahrain, as you know, as Hamza also mentioned, has taken first sandbox in the region was CBD's sandbox, and there's been a push towards it. The financial institutions as well have obviously, have a strategy of financial technology and digital transformation. Right? In your experience, actually, I'm sure you work with. Okay, so I'm sure you work with fintech companies as well as you've done something in-house as well. In your experience, what are the benefits from a like a whole macro, let's say, level, but as an institution, what are the benefits in your experience you reach with digital transformation, financial technology, and what's the second question is, what's the best way to go about it? You partner with technology companies, you do something in-house. Because I know you have both.
First of all, thank you, Brother Mustafa, for the question and giving me this opportunity to speak on this topic. Till now, we have heard various things about fintech, about digital revolution. The key word there is always convenience. How conveniently you can perform banking transactions, how conveniently you can perform certain transactions, right? If you allow me, Mr. I'll try to take a step back and just try to see the significance of the Islamic financial institutions in general and the Islamic banks in particular. Today, as we speak, the Islamic financial institutions, they have asset size of around $2.8 trillion. Of Islamic banking alone is around $1.8 trillion globally. When it comes to the contribution, when you talk about globally held Bahrain, the financial sector is a significant contributor to the economy. Around 80% of the GDP goes from the financial sector. Bahrain's GDP today is around $29 billion. Islamic banking assets are around $35 billion. Just to give you a perspective. When we talk about fintech now, how banks can partner up, let's see how what are the issues there. There was a survey conducted by KPMG in which the banks, 90% of the banks responded fintech as a threat to the business. Now, as they were talking about digital revolution, they responded as a threat. So when we are facing a situation, how or what are the ways forward? As you just mentioned, there can be what are the differences between in-house development or partnering with fintech. So when it comes to the in-house development, how banks can deliver that? First of all, you have to focus on the customer experience, right? Customer experience is the forefront of any banking institution of any industry. So you have to spend a lot on that front. On the other hand, you need to have those cost operational efficiency in order to be market competitive. When it comes to the fintech and the banks, the most probable or the most possible or the most easiest solution is collaboration. This is what's happening globally. Collaboration between the fintechs and the banks in general. We call it a marriage of convenience, in which there is a win-win situation for both. So we were talking about the relationship between the fintechs and the banks. The most probable way forward is the collaboration. That is what is happening globally. We call it, like I just mentioned, a marriage of convenience, in which there is a win-win situation for both. The technologies that have currently been developed or focused on is primarily mobile banking. Why mobile banking? Because mobile banking provides a ready infrastructure. We all know that banks, as a competitive banks, compete in a very competitive industry. So there are economies of scale, right? So in order to be competitive, you tend to spend less on research and development, growth is focused on long-term returns, right? So when we partner with those fintechs, the first thing that happens, you don't have to create the whole infrastructure. You already have part of the infrastructure in place. What you can do, you can always leverage by using the APIs provided by the fintech providers. So if we partner with fintechs, the biggest advantage is basically operational efficiency. Plus, there are ways where we can enter into, or banks can enter into new businesses that have, it would be very difficult for them to enter on their own. As I speak from my own experience from the Egypt Commercial Bank, recently partnered with a company called Realize for earned wage access for the unbanked segment, for the white collar jobs, right? So if it were for our own, it would have been very difficult to enter into that territory. But since we already had fintech from available, we partnered with them to provide that service to bank and bank, right? When it comes to the internal development, yes, we had internal development, but the challenges we faced in internal development were cost related challenges, resources related challenges. So all those were being addressed by partnering with fintech firms, like as Ashok mentioned, as Islam mentioned. But all these are this is the rosy picture, but it overall always not go like this. Always there will be risks, there will be challenges. When I talk about risks, the biggest risk is cybersecurity. We all talk about digital revolution, technological advancement, but it doesn't come with straightforward. It comes with cybersecurity. There have been regulations from the central bank on the central bank of Bahrain, and I'm sure other central banks as well on the cybersecurity regulations front. Sharia compliances. Now, when we talk about Islamic banks in general, our products are very well structured. They are as per a certain regulation, as per a certain standard, as Brother Mubarak mentioned, right? So when it comes to fintech, it becomes a little bit complicated. So this is a front where we face risks, the Sharia compliance. And the last thing is the technology, which is ever evolving, it doesn't stop. So you have to keep yourself updated. Challenges, just one last thing. The challenges we face other than the risk part are the infrastructure, availability of infrastructure, which is not available. So we have to build from scratch, or we have to partner with someone, as well as the human resource aspect. So these are from my experience, these are the issues, matters, and this that we face by partnering with the fintech firms as well as in-house development.
Yeah, so thank you. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just use this. That's interesting, Aman. Thank you for that. Look, so from my experience, I remember, and the first time actually I heard about fintech from one of our colleagues, and then believe it or not, it was one of. So we used to have. There's a KFH, Kuwait Finance House. You can see one of our sponsors. Not to shout out, they didn't pay me. I'm just saying that. So we used to. Their CEO used to host a majlis of sorts at dinner every quarter. For all the CEOs and senior people. And believe it or not, one of the first lectures on fintech I heard was Ashok Bhai. He was invited, and these were all very senior people, and that was very eye-opening. This was like 4 years ago, So what we have pioneers here, mashallah. It's interesting, Aman, you mentioned, because during that time, right, I used to read papers and even Financial Times, and they're saying that within the next 5 years, like BlackBerry was obsolete, we won't see any banks, right? But one of the things they didn't realize was that a lot of people are willing to give money to established banks rather than to a tech company, And where we see ourselves here, and what I've seen over the past 5 years, the best way is a partnership model. Banks on their own struggle, fintech companies on their own kind of also struggle. But if there's a partnership, a marriage of convenience, as you said, I think that is the best way. What I've seen, a lot of successful companies, yes, there are digital banks coming up, but they're in more developed economies. Let's say that. I have a lot of questions, by the way, but not a lot of time. So what I'll do is, if and this is a surprise, I didn't tell them I will ask this question because I want it from the heart. So fintech in Pakistan, in 5 minutes, each of you. Where should it start? Because there's a lot of things you can do. You mentioned a lot. Ashok mentioned a lot of stuff. Rizwan also mentioned regulations. Aman also mentioned. Where should the roadmap? Because there is a lot of fantastic stuff, by the way, going on in Pakistan, as most of you would know, right? But in the future, where should it start? Because the challenges are different there. Financial inclusion is a challenge. Remittance is an opportunity, not a challenge. So where should banks start from? 5 minutes, starting with Mr. Ashanaza.
Right. So Pakistan as a market is a huge market with financial inclusion. It is a challenge, right? And therefore, with the advent of technology, what's going to happen is, again, building scale, creating an outreach will become very easy. I think the focus has to be making seamless customer acquisition, right? Customer onboarding, how do you do the KYC very well? And no, we are not there yet. And I'll give an example of a top bank in Pakistan, where the company were trying to open a bank account, and they said, actually, EKYC, are you? And then I had to walk into the branch. Then they asked me, is it for financing or deposit account opening? Direct deposit account opening. But then I asked, why should it matter?
Yeah.
And there's a lady who although financing के लिए कोई different system use कर रहे हैं, the two systems do not talk to each other, right? So financing के लिए अलग था, deposit के लिए अलग था. And I was talking to someone this morning, and they are like, जो in a same support program है, उसके लिए there's a completely different EKYC mechanism क्योंकि जो आपका NIC है, उसका Urdu version is not being read well.
Is it still called Benazir? उसका नया पाकिस्तान कोई और तीसरा नाम है या कुछ?
So point is, we are only 1% done with digital banking, and digital acquisition of customer, making that seamless, extremely important.
Yeah.
Number two is for established banks, they will go into payments, making payments very easy and low cost to transmit. And it will be a lot easier for them to give everyday financing, everyday small financing. You must have heard of AAOIFI, right? Again, earned wage, and a number of others who are coming up. But I think as a big bang, I don't see it, but I do see a transformation of the business model, bringing more people into the common pool, and from there, banking will become.
I think Mr. Bhai had a lot more to say. I think interestingly from a market like Pakistan, let me just share from back generalize it from any market from that perspective. Financial inclusion and financial exclusion has always been, I've been hearing about it for the last 12 years, and before that I was a case of I didn't really probably. But financial inclusion is definitely a challenge, but it's a challenge for market as well. For example, how many the revenues that we've been talking about, how many people from Pakistan are there who are working and only send revenues to Pakistan? Are they doing it in an Islamic manner? I mean, do we have necessary awareness to these people? Yes, everyone is using mobile, but do they know how the difference between a conventional bank and Islamic bank? So I'll move back from looking at myself and looking at Chinese let's say in Pakistan. People don't really understand. So awareness from an education perspective remains a continuous challenge for all of us. Sitting here with an institution and an academic institution here, I think we've got a role to play in terms of enhancing that understanding of Islamic finance for the layman, for the people in general who send back remittances. And if they can invest, their role, they're earning money, and their role is to send back money or save a little bit if they can. And if they're saving them in a Sharia compliant manner, I can assure you that I think the funding will be channeled in Islamic manner if they understand it, because the understanding is not there. So that's for Bahrain. And similarly, for a market like Pakistan, which is huge in terms of financial exclusion, we back in the days in the UK, we did a study for State Bank of Pakistan on knowledge, attitude, and practices for Islamic banking finance industry. It was a huge survey for the whole Pakistan market. And if I remember, the statistic was that 18% of the people that we surveyed do not do banking because they don't believe in it. They don't have access to it. And there is a larger number which believe that Islamic is just same as conventional. There's no difference between the two. So even if you offer them Sharia compliant banks, they will not offer it because they don't have the same confidence. They say banking is banking ki haram hai, that mindset needs to change. From a financial inclusion perspective, that knowledge and awareness is created from a market like Pakistan. A lot of good institutions are doing a lot of good work. For example, if I can name one, which is the Fuad, are doing a lot of good work at the grassroots level, making a difference for the children market sector. If we can scale that up with the digital and fintech growth and development, we can it up with the apps or the softwares, I think the impact would be far wider and it would be meaningful from that perspective. So that's how I can generalize. Maybe that's a general statement, but rather I think we should work towards achieving that.
It is one measure, and I do agree with both of them. The biggest challenge that Pakistan as a country faces is the unbanked economy. Majority of the economy is unbanked. There is very less financial inclusion. Okay, so before we talk about fintech, before we talk about digitalization, we have to understand the ground problem or the root problem, which is the financial inclusion. In order to increase awareness in Pakistan about fintech or to revolutionize the banking industry in Pakistan, I think we have to understand one thing. Pakistan, when it comes to talent, there is no shortage of it. There are many fintech companies coming out of Pakistan. What Pakistan is lacking currently is basically a roadmap or a structure on which, and they can take a leaf out of Bahrain's book in that respect, because when it comes to the regulations, in terms of digital banking, in terms of banking digital, there is strong gap. So, just to summarize the two things that I would recommend for Pakistan is number one, the inclusion, and number two, as we just mentioned, is to have a structured roadmap in order to implement those rules and regulations, because there is no dearth of talent there. So, this is my question.
So we have to use this because I've been told that this is connected to Zoom. So apologies, we should have checked that. But anyway, I think there's some great points here. One thing, I mean, and before we conclude, if there are any questions, I'll open that as well. One thing I think was missed is the fact that a percentage of Pakistan, a big percentage of Pakistan, is in agriculture. And all major banks are ignoring farmers. SMEs, they will talk about SMEs here because they're SMEs here in these economies. In Pakistan, what I've seen is all major banks are ignoring farmers. And farmers face a big problem. You know this, I'm from the north, I'm from the south, so I know this. You hear about these clouds, you know, that go up during they burn the husk. You know why they burn it? Because they can't afford fertilizer. So when you burn it, their conventional wisdom says that the burnt stuff acts as fertilizer. So it's not an easy way. Yes, they have an easy way to get rid of the what do you call it, the waste, but it also serves as fertilizer. You know, if you facilitate them this, and their practices, so we speak to farmers, their practices are similar to practices with grandfathers. Mostly, I hate generalizing, but mostly in the underdeveloped villages you go, still, you know, what their grandfathers. And still Pakistan is like the fourth or fifth largest producer of wheat, milk is third. So imagine it's like even by 20% increase in profit. If we hear about the dollars issue and everything, it's 20% can be exported. So this is what banks, and that's a real economic issue, and how you can link that with technology, because you're not opening a bank in chunk bites. Yeah, you're not opening a bank branch in like a remote village, but you can leverage your technology. So this is something I think we should also look at. If there are any questions, I probably, because we're short of time as well, if there are any questions, we can probably take one, otherwise those to go for it. Can I say about this?
This is not a question the financial inclusion impact message of COVID and we are addressing this guys. Fair square, somebody is saying that it is not 21%. As you mentioned, the yield is a problem, and we are one of the largest producers of wheat by acre, 1/4 of what the world average is. And so is maize is one of the finest crop we have, but still we are the lowest. We are using the technology and farm to market inclusion is one of the key. If we want to increase the technology, we want to include eventually everyone and anyone who is living in the remote areas. The only way is to increase the farm to market approach. And ICAP, and last was summary, we have submitted, we started our budget summary. Like what we are doing, Pakistan is giving model economic federal budget, and which entails all the proposals pertaining to all the sectors of GDP, including agriculture, manufacturing side, construction side, services side. And they are almost far more accurate than the government. So, to be honest, being ICAP member, you be proud of it. One institute is giving a far consistent budget there. Our GDP working was far lower. My expenditure estimate was far lower than the actual ones. So the problem lies in the financial. The financial lies in farm to market. Agriculture is 23, and the rest is 20% is retail goods. So the 43% worth of my economy, they are not contributing in my direct taxes, and they are not included financially. So this is the root cause. Secondly, the issue is very simple. If you want me, as Umar Sahib has said, most of the speakers have said, that the contribution of Islamic banking or maybe the government or maybe the mutual fund is far, far greater. And it is increasing every day. It's very fast. That is because of the faith of your deposit holder or maybe the banking system, which we are looking at. So people, by and large, my population will bank will trust Islamic bank. But as far as my system of government is concerned, next to ICAP program, let me tell you very frankly, will not be in a position to come out of those programs. Because we have a huge budget. We have a very typical problem like energy. Whatever we earn, we are pushing out 60% of what we earn. And if I want to make a zero-based budget, we all expect zero student, like I have to collect 18,000 billion worth of tax. So we hardly recover 6,000. In order to achieve financial autonomy, so this is something which we need to consider.
I can thank or you can thank, it's
Thank
okay.
you so much for the insights, great insights. All this Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mujtaba, Mr. Rahman, Mr. Asher, and Dr. Rizwan for your practical insights. Thank you, Mr. Tola, for an interesting discussion. Following the panelists' discussion, it's time to welcome our esteemed guest and speaker, Mr. Syed Imran Ali Shah. Mr. Shah is Executive Vice President at Mizan Bank. He's a fellow member of the ICAW. He's a CFA charter holder and holds an executive MBA with distinction from London Business School. His career spans over 15 years, where he has served in some of the most prestigious banks and financial institutions across multiple locations. I would request everyone to welcome Mr. Imran Ali Shah as he sheds light on Sharia-compliant investment opportunities in Pakistan through the Roshan digital account.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Your Excellency, Mr. Muhammad Ayub, Ambassador of Pakistan to Bahrain, Mr. Ashfaq Tola Saab, President ICAP, Mr. Umar Ansari, Secretary General AAOIFI, Ms. Hina Osmani, Mr. Noor Abid Saab, Mr. Saeed Bhatt, Mr. Arshad Gadet, fellow speakers, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Syed Imran Ali Shah. I am part of the leadership team and the incoming CFO of Mizan Bank. Before I delve into my topic today, which is Sharia compliant investment opportunities in Pakistan via Mizan Roshan digital account, I must begin by thanking the organizing committee for arranging this event on such a pertinent topic. And I would also like to express my gratitude to the other speakers for their intriguing thoughts on how digital revolution can fast track growth in Islamic banking. On the outset of my presentation, I think I would also like to request Ashfaq Tola Saab, Ms. Hina Usmani, and members from the fintech community that Islamic banking should not be an afterthought. What we are seeing is that the real growth engine and driver for the Pakistani economy and economies in Islamic countries is now basically the Sharia compliant version of financing. And what you are typically seen is that Sharia comes as an afterthought when you're talking about new regulations, new standards being published. Obviously, I'm not talking about AAOIFI, but in the conventional side of things. So ICAP is taking the lead on a lot of initiatives, and I would request that when we are coming up with new solutions, I think Islamic banking should be the default choice of financing or providing those solutions rather than the Sharia compliant. That's very good, sir. So the topic of my discussion today is to showcase Mizan's performance. I think Islamic banking and Mizan Bank is synonymous in Pakistan. So I'll go through Mizan's performance, our key credentials in the digital landscape, and the Sharia compliant investment opportunities that we are offering via the Roshan digital account. Some of the material has already been covered by Umar Ansari Saab and Abid Saab, so I'll skim through that. But effectively, if we look at the Islamic banking industry in Pakistan, we right now have 33 commercial banks with around 15,500 branches, out of which 5 are full-fledged Islamic banks and 17 banks have Islamic branch operations. The branch network of Islamic banks represent around 4,000 branches. Our asset base is around 5.6 trillion. Deposit base is around 4.2 trillion rupees, which is roughly 1/5 of Pakistan's banking sector assets and liabilities. And it has been growing consistently. If you look at 2017, the size of our asset book in Islamic financing was 2.27 trillion. That's gone up to 5.6 trillion. And similarly, deposit size has also more than doubled in 5 years. So Mr. Noor Abid mentioned that Islamic banking was here to stay. I would go one step further and say that Islamic banking is here to dominate. And I think people should realize that. And the sooner we realize it, the more prepped we would be to enable that and look at Islamic financing options. If you look at the state bank's stated objectives, although we right now represent around 20% of the industry, State Bank has said that their strategic objective is to grow that to 25% by 2023 and to 30% by 2026. Those are fairly ambitious targets, but I think if we all put in our efforts, it is definitely achievable. So coming to Mizan Bank, I think everyone knows this already, I hope so. But Mizan Bank was established back in 1997 as Al-Mizan Investment Bank with a vision to establish Islamic banking as banking first choice. In 2002, we were given the first Islamic commercial banking license under Mizan Bank by the State Bank. And since then, we have gone from being the smallest bank in the country to, alhamdulillah, within a span of 20 years, the 4th largest bank in Pakistan in terms of deposits and the 3rd largest in terms of assets. We now are rated AAA, which is the highest credit rating possible for a non-sovereign institute in Pakistan. We have been designated as a systemically important bank, which shows the importance that the regulators and the government places on Islamic banking and Mizan Bank in terms of the structural impact that we have on Pakistan's financial sector. At the end of last year, we had 908 branches. That has, alhamdulillah, crossed 930 branches now, with presence in over 300 cities, serving over 3 million customers. Our profit after tax last year was 28.4 billion. And we are, alhamdulillah, the most valuable bank by market capitalization listed on the Pakistan Stock Exchange. Our mobile app is also rated the highest in the country across all financial institutions. We consistently have a rating of 4.9 across both Google Play Store and Apple. If I compare ourselves to the conventional banking industry, our share is 7.1% of the total. Obviously, the market is led by National Bank of Pakistan, followed by HBL and UBL. But for now, people think of Mizan Bank as a top 5 bank. But if we go even 5 years, we were not even in the top 10. So it just shows the offtake of Islamic banking in Pakistan. And I think Islamic banking is here to stay. And inshallah, Mizan would be playing a critical role in, has done that and would continue to do so over the next few years. It's not just the deposit base which has grown. If we look at the stable, low-cost deposit of the bank, we have grown our CASA deposits from 73% in 2018 to now around 83%. So, for transactional banking, for daily customer needs, Mizan Bank is quickly becoming the bank of choice for our retail customers. When I look at some of the key performance indicators, deposit growth, alhamdulillah, has been geometrical. Our CAGR since inception is 35%, which is quite phenomenal. Profit after tax over the last 3 years has been on an average growth of 48%. Branch network has grown from 571 to now 930 branches. 902 was the figure at the end of December. And the asset base has also grown from 320 to around 780 billion. But what's very important is that our non-performing loans portfolio has remained below 2%. You compare that to the industry average of 7 to 8%, and it just shows the credit quality of our financing portfolio. In terms of the key performance indicators, the return on equity for Mizan Bank, last year was nearly 36.4%. That has gone up from 19.6% in 2016. Our return on assets is also around 1.7, which is very high. Our earnings per share have gone from 3.4 rupees per share in 2016 to 17.4%. And if you look at the share performance of Mizan Bank against KSC 100 index, we have significantly outperformed the market. So I'll go to Mizan Roshan digital account in a second, but Mizan Bank shares in itself are a very good Sharia compliant investment opportunity. And I think that's something which everyone should be considering. In terms of our digital footprint, our mission statement that's listed there, I'll just read it out. Our mission statement says to intelligently understand the banking needs of our customers and develop new business models, provide new revenues and value producing opportunities for the bank through the use of new technologies and data. So, that mission statement has been there for years. And, Mizan was early on in its growth story, was able to recognize the importance of adapting and, recognizing new technologies in driving and better serving our customers. Our strategy is to obviously look at, new business models. We have a continuous improvement certificate program, which is rolled out to almost 12,000 staff of Mizan Bank. We are looking at cloud computing. We are looking at blockchain, data analytics. So there's a lot happening in this space. And we are definitely quite keen to partner with fintechs and other players in the market to drive change and revolution in the Islamic banking industry. We obviously put our money where our mouth is, and that reflects in our digital credentials. I won't go through the full slide, but as you can see, Mizan has the highest number of transactions routed through the one-link grid with an industry share of 22.2%. So if I went back to my previous slide, our deposit share is only 7.1%. But if you look at the digital transactions, we represent almost 1/4 of the market. We have the highest number of transactions through any debit card across Pakistan. Our mobile banking app, which I've mentioned earlier, is 4.9 rated. That's the highest rated financial institution app in Pakistan across both Apple and Google Play. 15 million, unique users use it on a monthly basis. Plus, we are working on setting up ATMs, POS machines, SMS banking, and there are a lot of other initiatives which we are undertaking. I would have gone into the detail, but given the challenges of time, I'm just skipping through some of the slides here. So that brings me to Mizan Roshan Digital Account. Now, Roshan Digital Account is a remarkable initiative of the State Bank of Pakistan for the ease of millions of non-resident Pakistanis. I think Saeed Saab earlier mentioned that 65 countries or audience from 65 different countries was logged in to view this discussion. And I would encourage all of them, if you have not heard of Roshan Digital Account, go and explore what it is. Mushtaba earlier mentioned that regulation, sometimes drives growth. And I think Roshan Digital Account is a prime example of that. When Roshan Digital Account was, the idea was floated by State Bank, there was a lot of resistance. People thought, how would you be able to do KYC remotely? This would not work. And there was a significant push from the regulator. But today, Roshan Digital is a very successful initiative. And I think regulatory push has had a big impact in, driving its success. Roshan Digital Account is obviously a lifestyle product, and we look at some of the products in a short while. But if I come to Mizan Roshan Digital Account, we have fully digital account opening within 48 hours. Our current account and saving accounts are available in 4 different currencies. We offer a free debit card, checkbook, investment banking. You can invest in a host of investment and financing products, remit money outside Pakistan. So any money that you remit into Pakistan, if you have a need of that money and that is in your account or in an eligible investment, you are able to repatriate it to your host country without any questions asked. What distinguishes also Mizan from other competitors is that we have a dedicated relationship manager for every account holder. So when you open a Mizan Roshan Digital Account, you get assigned a dedicated relationship manager, and they're available to answer your queries, answer your concerns, or direct you to the relevant person in case you have any issues. Mizan Roshan Digital Account journey so far, around $1.1 billion has been remitted through RDA just into Mizan Roshan Digital Accounts. And to put things into perspective, the IMF deal that we are looking to hopefully close in the next few weeks, the expected inflows from that tranche is also 1.17 billion. So that just shows you the quantum that has just flown through into Mizan via Mizan Roshan Digital Account. We were the first bank to issue a Islamic Naya Pakistan certificate. I'm pleased to say the customer who we issued that certificate to is in the audience. We were the first to disperse Roshan Apna Ghar financing, the first to disperse Roshan Apni Car financing, the first to provide a Sharia compliant stock trading portfolio and provide EPS facilities. If I compare the inflows of Roshan Digital Accounts and how Mizan has performed against it, we have had so far around 4.7 billion remitted into Pakistan via Roshan Digital Accounts. And Mizan consistently has had a 1/4 market share of all remittances. So although we are around 7-8% of the market if in the terms of local deposits, but when it comes to Mizan Roshan Digital Account, we hold around 23% of the market share, and that has been consistent throughout the journey. And 45% of the share in Islamic Naya Pakistan certificate investments. Similarly, in terms of account opens, we have consistently been between 17 to 18%. And that just shows the superior digital services which Mizan is able to offer. If I go to my next slide, as I mentioned earlier, Mizan is Roshan Digital Account is a lifestyle product. It's not just an account where you can remit money and send funds to your loved ones, friends, and family in Pakistan. You can also both invest in Sharia compliant investments, and you can also avail Islamic financing via the Roshan digital account channel. The flagship product is obviously Islamic Naya Pakistan certificates, but you can also invest in Al Mizan mutual funds, equity instruments. You can get financing via Roshan Apna Ghar for housing in Pakistan. You can always also do real estate investing in Pakistan, finance a car for your loved ones there, and you can also send money for charity back. So people do like to send money, for Qurbani, for charity, for other charitable purposes, and Mizan Roshan Samaji Khidmat offers you that opportunity. I hope all of you are aware of Islamic Naya Pakistan certificates. The rates go up from 5.5% for the shorter dated tenor securities to up to 7% for USD, 6.5% for GBP, and 5.75% for Euro returns. State Bank is actively looking to revise these rates, and hopefully in the next few weeks, the investment rates on Islamic Naya Pakistan certificates would be revised in line with the higher policy rate in Pakistan. There's only 10% fixed with withholding tax on profit, and premature encashment is allowed after 1 month without any penalty. So, you can invest in Pakistan via INPCs, and if you need that money without any questions asked, you can take that money abroad, without any penalty being paid. So I think it's an excellent investment opportunity for non-resident Pakistanis, offering very competitive rates in FX like USD, GBP, and Euro denominated currencies. The other investment opportunity that you have available is through the Al Mizan Investment Management Company. So Ameem is a subsidiary of Mizan Bank. It is the largest asset management company across both Sharia and non-Sharia compliant AUMs in the country. We offer a comprehensive range of Sharia compliant investment solutions, and we have a track record of almost 27 years, which shows the confidence of our investors in Al Mizan Investment Management. Through Ameem, you can invest in mutual funds, savings plans, retirement plans, investment plans, monthly income plans, capital preservation, and also for our high net worth client, separately managed accounts. State Bank is also working on launching a voluntary pension scheme solution, especially for our colleagues based in the GCC, where there is no route to getting a nationality or permanent residency in these countries. So you can save for your future by investing in a voluntary pension scheme also through Al Mizan Investment Management. You can also invest in Sharia compliant stocks via the Mizan Roshan Equity Investment. All you have to do is open a CDC account and just invest in Sharia compliant stocks. So again, that opens another avenue for our non-resident Pakistanis to invest and help Pakistan overcome the current balance of payments crisis. Mizan Roshan Digital Account also offers a riba-free solution for your home financing needs. It conforms to your to Sharia compliant laws on financing based on diminishing musharaka. There are 3 types of financing available. There is self-financing, i.e., if you just want to invest in real estate, you can do that through your Roshan Digital account. If you need bank financing, then there are 2 options. You can either go for a lien-based solution or a non-lien based solution, and then the low-cost housing scheme, which is currently on hold by SBP, but we have been told that it would be relaunched very soon. In terms of some of the other features, I would just like to mention a couple. Because this is Islamic financing, the investment is covered, under takaful, free of cost. So if, God forbid, something happens to the customer, the funding for the house is actually provided by free of cost takaful. You can also take life assurance under Sharia compliant version through Roshan digital account. Processing fee is nominal, and the rates are also quite competitive. So if I look at the non-lien based rates for salaried and non-salaried individuals, variable rates are at 1 year KIBOR plus 1.5%, and the repricing it is on an annual basis. For lien based, it's 1 year PKRV, and for the fixed rates, it's 5 years PKRV for non-lien based and 5 years PKRV plus 1.5% for the non-lien, and 5-year PKRV rate for the lien-based financing. So these are fairly competitive. I think the rates right now are fairly high. So some people might be discouraged, but conversely, with the currency depreciation, if you look at your payments in dollar or Bahraini dinar terms, it is a very good time to invest in real estate in Pakistan. You also have the option to apply for, get car ijara financing for your loved ones. Again, that's under the Sharia compliant car ijara model. The rates can be looked at on our website. I won't go through that in detail. And then, finally, Roshan Samaji Khidmat. Again, if you want to, donate to charity in Pakistan, do a qurbani through, while sitting here, or use it for any other purpose, which is based on helping the community, you can do that through your Roshan Samaji Khidmat account. These are some of the partners that we are working with, and you can go to our website and directly provide funds to any of these institutions. If anyone has any questions about Mizan Roshan digital account, we are inshallah holding a roadshow next month in Bahrain. The details will be communicated through the Pakistan embassy, and inshallah we'll also keep the Bahrain chapter of ICAP in touch about the dates. But if you have any details, if you would like to know more about products or to apply for financing or investment through Mizan Roshan digital account, you can do so and talk to our colleagues who would be here next month. I would just like to close my talk by thanking the audience and the organizers. It was a privilege, attending the event, listening to other speakers. The panel discussion on fintechs was very intriguing, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shah, for sharing your thoughts and insights with us. Personally speaking, I'm a huge fan of the Roshan digital account myself, and I use it, and I can personally vouch for the service and the dedicated service that he talked about. Esteemed guests, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, our virtual attendees, our event Islamic Banking and Digital Revolution is now coming towards conclusion. I would once again like to thank His Excellency, Mr. Muhammad Ayub, for sparing time from his busy schedule and staying with us throughout the event. Mr. Tola, for all his wisdom and all his insights shared with us. Ms. Hina Asmani, for kindly sharing your thoughts with us. Mr. Abid, who shared a lot of practical insights with us in his address. Mr. Ansari, for educating us about the AAOIFI. And of course, Mr. Shah, who talked to us about Mizan in detail. In addition, I would like to thank our panel for their discussion as well. I want to take this opportunity, and I want to especially thank our sponsors, which are Mizan Bank, Khaliji Commercial Bank, ATH Gadlang, Prismatic Technologies, Premium E-Business Solutions, and Aramis Enterprise Solutions. A special thanks to joint organizers, including ICAP Pakistan, ICAP Bahrain Chapter, the AAOIFI, the BIBF, the TAIF Institute, and the Pakistan Club in Bahrain. Tons of thanks to the volunteers and the management team, without whose efforts this event was not possible. I hope you enjoyed our event. I hope you found the event informative and insightful. We hope, as Bahrain Chapter ICAP, to welcome you in future to such insightful events. The floor is now open outside the auditorium for networking. Some delicacies and refreshments are waiting for everyone out there. I thank you all once again, and I hope you will enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you very much for staying with us. This session is concluded. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.